my gosh, I started completely on time. I'm gonna check my mic. Right now I'm having problems with it and I just want to see which ones. Okay, I think you guys can all hear me. I'm going to minimize this window for a second just to make sure that we are actually live. Sorry about that. Because my mic wasn't working, I was trying to, I reboot my entire computer, shut it down. So let me check. Yeah, we're live. Okay. So then when everything opened up, then it was, sorry, I opened up my browser and then everything is just playing because I had shut the whole thing down and I didn't realize that. So sorry. I'm going to pop us over to the overhead cam so you can see what we're doing today. We're going to be swatching core watercolor today, which was one of my favorites for a long time. And the only reason it stopped being my favorite is because it can be a little unpredictable in how it moves. As a beginner artist, that wasn't necessarily what I was looking for. And beginner artist, as a beginner watercolorist, somebody who hasn't worked with watercolor that long, I realized like that's not the best choice for me. I think it's a great brand. It uses a different binder than most of the other watercolor brands. Most of them use, I'll think of the word and I'll let you know, but this one uses like Aquasol, something like just that they only use. Proprietary, that's the word I'm looking for. And I have a lot of their colors because I did use it so much. And then when I was out of town a couple of months ago, I went somewhere with my sister and we were just supposed to have, you know, sister time, girl time. And she ended up getting really sick and I hadn't brought any art supplies because I didn't think I would have time to make art. But because she was sick, I did. And so I ended up buying this, even though I have so many of the core watercolors already. But this one has a few colors that I don't have in this big set. And I really, really love this as a travel palette because you've got quite a big mixing area. I like that there's indentations. This is actually, this material here is like silicone and I could add more colors if I wanted. So I ended up buying this even though I already had these because I just thought it was a really great setup that I'm sure that I would use. So the original core watercolors that I bought, I actually wanted to test them out. I wasn't sure if I would like them. So it came in this and it was these little ones. And I don't think it was just 3, 4. I think that I'm missing one. So we might add a swatch some other time, but I looked for them. I looked for them. Oh, we're gonna need that. I looked for them, but I could not find anything that, I couldn't find any missing ones, sorry. Multitasking is not my strong point. I can't always talk and think and do an activity at the same time. I've actually been a lot better about it lately, but I guess not today. Maybe I'm just frazzled because I couldn't get my mic to work. I'm actually working with an entirely new, not entirely new setup, but a relatively new setup today. And so before I went live, I had quite a few things that I needed to take care of that I wouldn't normally have to take care of because I had, even though this is only, I think this is the 5th live stream I've done with this particular setup, well, that's the other thing I like about the core packaging. You can use all parts of it for a palette. And I really like a metal palette that has porcelain on it. And they don't come like obviously if you buy this single tube, it's not going to come with this, but because I bought this like sample, the introductory set just to see if I liked them. Yeah, and sorry, I know I was talking about something else and I've completely forgot what it was. So I'm going to move these to the side so that we can open this up. I just had it here so that you can see what order we're doing them in. We're going to start with the red, and then we're going to go over to blue, and then we're going to go down to all of these colors here are neutrals of some sort. So that we've got indigo, we've got neutral tint, burnt umber, Van Dyke brown, transparent brown oxide, titanium buff, Chinese white. And I want to try all the neutrals. I want them all to be next to each other because this book, this swatching index book, is there for me to make choices of what color do I want to be using if I pick a certain brown. Just like with the other ones that we've swatched. So last week we swatched Sennelier, and so we're going to be using these same criteria. The symbols might be different. So for Sennelier, the symbols that they used were like they used a T to say whether or not it was transparent. They didn't use the squares. Actually, they did use the squares. Maybe they were just being redundant. I really don't know. But I would have to look it up, and I didn't because I forgot entirely that I was concerned about that. So let me get myself organized here. Move my mouse pad out of the way so that I can move all these paints over. Eventually I'll get used to the setup and it won't be so clunky, I hope. But for now, that's where we're at. Okay. I feel like there's something on the table. I'm going to test both these pens in the back of the book because I want to see which one's working better today. Oh, not that one. This one wins. I used to use these a lot, and then I switched to something else. And so all the Micron pens that I have are kind of old. I'm just trying to look at if this is the blue one or the brown one. I think it's black. Usually use blue. Oh, you're in shadow. You're getting a shadow. Sorry, the new setup, I'm not quite used to how. What can I do about that? Let's see if I move these items over. If you get less of a shadow. Wonder why that is. The setup's not that different, so I'm not really, I was so focused on my mic that I didn't pay that much attention. I think that's good. Okay. Let's see if we do brighter, if that helps. Oh, that is the brightest. Oh, you know what would be great? You don't need, let me see. You don't need the color wheel. But it'd be nice if I could put it right there, take a photo of it and then link it. That would take me way too long. So, wish I'd thought of that earlier. So we're working with core today. And you can't see what I'm writing. I'll move it. Core. And always look how I did it the time before. We're going to do name and number. And I'm going to do really thin swatches today like this because this gives us a lot more information, and that's great. It's really nice to have the information, but I can't compare the colors quite as much, and so I'd rather have a little less information in a smaller section and be able to say like, oh, I choose that color. Like we're going with Caput Mortem. which is probably my favorite name of any watercolor ever. Or like, actually I got it in a pencil first because I just think it's like very on the nose. Yep, that's looks like blood. I don't like blood. I am a big baby when it comes to blood, unless it's an emergency, and then I get very clear-headed and I'm fine. But normally I wouldn't. Not my jam. So we're gonna do a nice thin little section. So hopefully we can get all of these on here, have it a 2-page thing, and we can compare it really effectively. So the first thing that I always like to write down is the name of the color, which is kind of irrelevant because the names of the colors don't even mean anything. It's just kind of whatever the manufacturer decided to call it. And then there's the pigment number. Let me see if I couldn't get it to focus last time. Let me see if I can get it on this camera. Taking its time. There we go. Okay. So the pigment number is, I'm looking at it upside down and backwards almost. Well, not upside down, but I think that's the pigment number right there. So that's PR122. And that's a little bit more useful information because you could probably get PR122 in another brand. However, it's not always exactly the same. You can manipulate the basic qualities to make a slightly different color. So getting, you know, if you want your colors to match up exactly. So let's say that I wanted my Schminke, let's say I wanted to get this red. I don't want to say it because I know I'm going to mispronounce it. Cochineal. I don't know. And we say, oh, I want cochineal. I want to see which red is the closest. Well, I only have one red on here. So we'll just say, oh, did I not write the pigment number for that one? I think that one, it's written so small that I just couldn't see it, but it's PR209, which is obviously different than the magenta. But let's look at my one red that I have, my one true red, PR207, PR209. Close. They're close. I assume that means something, but not exactly the same. So we'll start with the quinacridone magenta. Am I saying it right? If there's anybody out there that's just lurking, I don't see anybody in the chat, and I can't see how many people are here. But if you are lurking and you know how to say it, let me know. And so this is PR122. You know what, I'll leave this up here for you for now. There we go, you can see it. And where's the other information? I think I've swatched these before, so I don't understand why I'm not seeing it. It says light fastness. Are we not gonna get, I think this might be one of the ones where it's on the website. I think I've swatched these before when I had fewer paints. So, I mean, it's useful to do it again, but I had to go look on the website. Maybe that's just on the little ones. Maybe they give us more. Okay. There's a square, an empty square. We don't have any triangles. We don't have anything about granulation. It says patent pending. Excellent light fastness. I don't know. So one of the reasons I also didn't keep using these is because FOMO, I guess. Is there anything else out there that I would like better kind of deal? But also because I started doing a lot more portraits, and I'm just not sure that it's the best thing for portraits, but I think that there's an artist who like exclusively uses them for portraits, but her portraits are huge. Like I work relatively small, and so any texture you can see, and I find because these move so quick across the paper, you can get a lot of texture. And I don't know about you guys, I don't really want there to be like texture on my skin, like on my face. So I don't necessarily, unless I'm drawing something where I want to emphasize the texture on someone's skin, like I don't That's not a trait I want. But because she's doing it so, the other artist is doing it so big, it probably doesn't matter. It probably just doesn't, like, you wouldn't see that texture because it would be so, the scale of the texture would be so small compared to the rest of the painting. So I think all we've got here is that it's light fast, and all it's saying is light fast. LF, light fast, excellent. I'm gonna just write excellent, or I guess I'll write it the way they did. Excellent. We're gonna write EX. Actually, I'm gonna come back and not know what that means. And I wrote it so messy, I still don't know what it means. And what, last time, did we swatch Vanilla last time? Oh my gosh, there was so much separation. It's such a relief to open it up, have it be easy to open, and just have it come right out. So nice. However, I would like to say I still love Sennelier paints. Like, it's worth the irritation because they're just so nice. Now, do you see that? Do you see how that, I don't know if you could tell the difference, but it moves so quickly. And I just think that is so fun. We're gonna start up here. Why waste precious space up here? We can have a bigger swatch just for magenta, which is one of my least favorite colors. Well, actually, I like it. I just always ended up using too much of it in my paintings because for the first couple of years that I painted, I only used magenta, cyan, and blue. Not really blue. Sorry, that's cyan. Magenta, cyan, and lemon yellow, because those are great for, why is this not moving? There, do you see how it's moving? Can you guys see that? Is the light picking it up? If you put it in there, it just, well, hopefully on a darker color, you'll see it better. Oh, I'm really struggling to follow my train of thought today. I would apologize, but I think that it's really important to not apologize for things that, like, we didn't do on purpose and that we can't help. I think people who are, I can't even think of the word, raised female from birth. That's not how you say it, but you know what I mean. I think we just tend to, like, apologize all the time for things that we didn't do. And so if it bothers you that I am not finishing my sentences, I'm sorry, but you can, you know, you don't have to be here. And I am still a worthy human being, even if I'm scattered, which is probably harder for me than it is for all of you. So we're doing quinacridone red light. Just harder for me because I have to live with me. You can leave. I'm still gonna be here. PR207. I keep writing R instead of PR. I think it's because I text a lot. And when you text, you can mix up the letters or numbers and nothing of consequence happens. You'll get it corrected. Okay, so we've got a box. It's signifying, I assume, transparency, and it light fastness is excellent. When you have less information on the tube, that kind of means that you need to do a little bit more work. Look how easy that opened. I feel like there's crumbs coming out. I'm gonna try to open up. I'm trying to put so little because with watercolor, a little goes a very, very long, excuse me, a really long way. But it is really hard to put almost nothing out of the tube. Okay, you see it? Do you see it like flying? It moves really differently. And I very much enjoy seeing how it moves after I haven't used it for a while. After I've been using other paints more. So how's everybody doing today? If there's anybody lurking, tell me. Tell me what's going on in your life. My animals are MIA today. I don't know where the cat went. She's almost always somewhere I can find her. I don't think anyone put her outside. So I'm a little concerned about her whereabouts. One time when we moved, she disappeared for like a week. We think she got stuck in a tree or something. So when she goes missing, I do have some concerns. I think there's a little bit of trauma there. I feel like I could put a thicker amount. Those of you who are like new to watercolor, if you ever notice like this thing here, right here, this bloom, if you don't want that, you put a thicker amount of watercolor into thinner paint. So if I drop a little bit of water right here, just pure water, it's going to make the bloom. But if I put thick pigment, it'll be fine and it won't make any bloom. There. Now we can see the color. And I'm realizing we could probably put a little bit more of the magenta because it's not really showing its full saturation that it can get to. I wonder if I forgot to pay attention to that when I was doing the other swatches on the other pages. I hope not. I think they were kind of more pigmented. Oh yeah. Sennelier is a lot more. It says it's transparent, but core watercolors are much more transparent overall, I think, than Sennelier would be. Sennelier is more opaque. I'm getting a text from, okay, it's fine. I'm going to put the phone on silent because I forgot to do that. Do not disturb, silence all notifications until tomorrow. That seems extreme. We're going to say until the end of this event, which I have written down as 1:30, but we might go over, we might go under. Okay, our next one is transparent pyro orange. Does anybody else like lose their pen? I'll put it down and it's just like gone. Even though I have ADHD, object permanency isn't like one of my strongest traits compared to some other people I know with ADHD where that's their like, that's like their thing. But I found like depending on my gut health, I will lose things a little bit more often. Also, if I'm less stressed, if I'm less anxious, I lose things more. I think the anxiety, I can't spell transparent and talk. I think the anxiety helps me be organized. Okay, so we've got, this is way too close together. This is going to be really hard for me to read. I'm going to just make a really thin line right here. And hopefully I don't have to do that all the way down. Hopefully I figure out how to spread out what I'm writing a little bit more. This is, okay, that's weird. PO 71. Oh, PO, because it's orange. O is for orange. And this one doesn't really have more information. Oh, light fastness is good. It's not excellent. It's just good. Come on. Is good enough. Is good enough? it would depend on how long you think your painting is going to be around. You know, it really makes me wonder about like the light fastness for the painters of the past and the technologies that they had available to them. Did they... I'm just gonna put water down first, and then maybe you'll get to see it go crazy. Is this bright enough? It's a very bright color, but I think it would be easier to see on the dark color. You ready? Woo! Do you see how fast that goes? And it's very spindly. And I think that that's just a trait of watercolor, but I feel like it's more pronounced with core, which can be good or bad depending on the effect that you want. It's not a bad thing. Ooh, look there. Do you see it? I don't think it's universally bad. It's just, like I said, you know, not something I wanted in my portraits. But somebody else might. Might be your thing. I think this is a really cool color because it has a lot of, it looks kind of yellow if you pull it out, or at least it does on that palette here. Maybe not so much on the paper, but it can get very dark. You're not gonna go all the way? Go all the way. Move a little further. There we go. All right, next one. Quinacridone burnt orange. I thought about putting this in the neutrals category, but we're gonna just put it in orange. And we're not gonna write out quinacridone. We're just gonna write quin burnt orange. And it is PR206. Light fastness is excellent. Yay. And then we have probably it means transparent. That's probably what it means. Seeing if there's any other information I can glean. Aquasol, that's the proprietary. I'm just seeing it's written on here. That's a proprietary binding agent. Nothing's coming out. Is it dry? Oh no, it's coming out. It's just coming out in like a solid worm. Okay. I've never had a paint dry on me. I mean, you know, like crackly on the edges, which is like what's happening now. I'm trying to not do it over the paper, so I don't really want to show you, because then I'll get other colors in my... If there's like a speck of blue right here, it'll mix and then we won't get the pure color. Oh, that's such a pretty color. I love that. This is one of my favorites. Burnt orange. Burnt orange is one of the colors that I think when I wear it, it makes me look more alive. I'm very olive toned, and that means that my skin, and that means that there's not a lot of red or pink in my skin color. Well, not like, I mean, definitely there is, but like compared to your average human, not so much. And so my lips are kind of the same color as my skin sometimes, especially if I'm just sitting and sitting here and no circulation's happening. If I don't get up and walk around or dance or... is this dried out and kind of gross? Is there hair in it? Something's happening here. I have a lot of pets, or I had. I just put down one of them. So there's slightly less hair than before, but there's still a lot of animal hair that gets in everything that I do. Things are drying quick today. I have the heater on next to me because it's still cold, but the sun is out of it. And so I think it's warmer today than normal. I actually meant to check. I'm going to do that right now. I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to do this before I started. Nope. Sorry. I am sorry for that. That seems super rude. Oh, it's significantly warmer. Okay, that explains it. It's 52. And I mean, it snowed last week. So it was, you know, snowy temperatures, which is at most 34. And usually closer to 32. It doesn't usually get colder than that. It can. I think it got down to 28 one night. I was worried about the pipes. They were fine. We did have them freeze last year. Okay, next color is quinacridone gold. But the thing about watercolor is that it's very dependent on, oops, sorry, hitting the light. It's very dependent on the humidity in the room. It's dependent on how hot or cold it is. It works really different in summer than it does in winter. And so it's important to keep all that in mind when you're painting because, oh, also I have a heater on next to me. It is a, what are they called? Like, I think it's called an oil heater, and it's not as dry as some heaters, but it will warm up the air and make things dry a little bit faster, which is good overall when you're doing a live stream. If things dry faster, because then I can turn the page and close it without messing up whatever I did. Oh, I didn't write things down yet. When I paint at a coffee shop or something, I'll be carrying around my book. Where you can't see my hand. I'll be carrying around my book for a while, waiting for it to dry. If it's cold weather, and I feel like I'm just presenting it to the world, like, hello, hi everybody, would you like to see my painting? I mean, sometimes I'm just holding it and you wouldn't see it. Like, I'm holding it to the side. But a lot of times I'm holding it open like a book with my hand, like walking around with it until it dries. Okay, so this is our first dual pigment color. At the beginning of my watercolor journey, it was recommended to use the single pigment colors as often as possible, because when you're blending different colors and there's only one pigment in each one, then you know that you kind of know what you're going to get. But when you have something that has dual pigments, you get a little less consistency in your mixing. Personally, I realize now I don't care. It's not really a big deal to me, but it might be a big deal to you, so I'm telling you. And I kind of like muddy colors. Well, actually, I really like bright colors, but I also like to paint with like a lot of grays and browns in my paintings. So it's usually fun for me. I didn't know that though when I was buying them, so I was super, super interested in getting single pigment colors. I still care about it in theory. Quinacridone gold. I hope. Let me open it. Oh, we already put it down. So we've got raw sienna natural. I could move that over to neutrals, but I'm worried. Let's put them down. Okay. So raw sienna, we're gonna put them down because I feel like I might have put them out of order. Oh no, that's definitely yellow. Is there any orange in the quinacridone gold? Because do you see how orange it is on the packaging? But the packaging doesn't have to be accurate. That's very yellow. Okay, I think it'll be more orange. I just want to make sure that it's in order. It'll be easy. It'll help decision making later. And by later, I mean when I am doing a painting, not later, like it's not a decision about swatching or anything. So it's a decision, it'll help me make decisions when I am choosing colors for different paintings. That's so yellow. Okay, that's better. Yeah, this color's cool in some other brands because it's a single pigment, and I think maybe in Daniel Smith it might be a single pigment, but it won't, but it'll do different things depending on how heavy you put it down. I think that's so useful. Like, actually, I'm thinking that might be a really nice pigment to use when painting dark skin tones. I'm still working on, you know, I looked it up. It's not for lack of trying. I've been painting dark skin tones since I started doing watercolor. If you look at any of my past videos, you can see that my husband's very dark skinned and my younger son's medium. Right in between us, probably a little closer to my husband. And so I've been painting dark skin tones. I painted my husband's grandma. He would like me to paint his family members. I'm trying not to accidentally pick up any of the other colors here. They're getting kind of close together. So it's not for lack of trying that I have yet to feel like I'm doing a good job painting dark skin tones. Like I've probably painted more dark skin than light. I do find light skin faster at the moment and easier. And the reason is because there's not a huge difference between me and the white paper. Like, you don't need to add that much. Like, have I done any self-portraits? I think I did one in gouache. So, like, I've done very few self-portraits. And when I did do one, it was in gouache. And, hold on. I feel like we're not getting the true color here. We're not getting that nice gradient. So, if I was going to paint myself with watercolor, which I should probably try, you know, the hardest thing is probably going to be the line sketch. And then I, you know, put a little, I always wear some amount of makeup to get on camera because otherwise you can't see me. In real life, you could see me, but cameras change how things are. And so I put a blush and mascara, and then I actually put blush everywhere because I'm all skin tone. So, like, the main thing, I don't even wear foundation. I just put on blush to kind of, like, make you, when you light yourself, you're getting light right at your face. This is useful for, like, if you wanted to paint a portrait. Or if you're watching my channel because you want to know more about lighting. But, you know, I've got these lights coming straight at my face. They flatten you out. If you want it well lit enough that you can see what I'm doing, we got to have these bright lights. And so putting some color on you will help create planes in your face. We'll chat more about these portraits that I'm trying to do in a minute, but let's do raw sienna, which could be under a neutral, to be fair, but we're gonna do it under yellow today because I would probably, let's check again, how dark is it? I'd probably, would I use that as a yellow? I think transparent brown oxide, Van Dyke brown. I mean, I really would use it more as a brown. I could make a nice yellow though. I'm sorry, I guess I should have decided this off camera. We're just gonna go with it because I already made the decision. So to spare you all the back and forth that is going on in my mind, we will just continue. And if it's a mistake, it's a mistake. Raw sienna. And then it's in quotes, natural. I don't know what that means. Is there an unnatural raw sienna in this brand? Maybe. PY43. And, oh, we have our first semi-transparent, which I remember that about this one. Because it's very opaque. When they say semi-transparent, I'm like, I'd go for just transparent. Do we have any other information? Light fast. Okay, now it says 1 or L. I don't know. That's a little inconsistent. Maybe they changed the way they categorize things. I'm gonna just wet the paper again. Maybe you'll be able to see it moving because it's semi-transparent instead of transparent. You'll get to see it moving a little bit more. Not really the brightest color to do that. Yeah, I wish I'd put this in brown. And the reason why is that it's very much, now I think that this is a single pigment. So it is likely it's just the pigment it is, right? But when you get a brown is really a mixture of other colors. Browns, this has yellow in it, and it has red, and it probably has a little bit of blue. Not much blue, but some. It has so little blue in it that we could call it yellow. But I wish I just put it in neutral. However, I would say when I'm picking these up, I'm going to be more likely to just look, because the package looks yellow, I think I'd be more likely to make the mistake of thinking it was yellow until, oh no, oh no, I forgot that I didn't use a waterproof pen to write this. I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit after I do this. You got to work fast with water mediums, or it'll dry. Okay, I'm gonna get a paper towel. And just blot straight up. And I hope. Nope. I tried. Okay. Oh, how can I let you see it without ruining it? Because that's going to happen again. Maybe over here. I guess we could straighten the book by now. Okay, next we're doing yellow ochre. Another yellow that's not really a yellow. It's kind of a brown yellow. I really like yellow ochre. I wish I... Oh, am I wearing it? I was going to say, I wish I could wear it. I can. I think I'm thinking of a different color that I can't. You can wear any color you want. But when you're as pale as me and chronically ill, and you have a lot of bad days, and sometimes you don't sleep well, you know, it goes well for you to maybe wear colors that are your best colors, because then you'll look alive and healthy. And yellow ochre, I think, is brown enough for me, but there are some colors very close to yellow ochre that are too yellow for me, and I don't like how I look in them. And I don't think I look healthy. PY43. LF1. We've got another 1. And we have semi-transparent, which tracks. from what I remember about this color. These colors are, I think the nice thing about semi-transparent watercolors is that you can cover up mistakes or use them as highlights. The best thing to do is preserve your whites with watercolor, but that's not always possible, especially if you're like me and you can sometimes have a hard time sequencing. I'm getting better and better at it. The longer you work with these mediums, usually the better you'll get. Did I just swatch the same color? Are they the same color? I think every time I use these, I ask myself that. Let's put it on thicker. No, it's not the same color, but it is so close that did I have to buy both? Maybe not. Are there a circumstance where I'm going to be more pulled to raw sienna or yellow ochre? Probably, but I think you could take either one and turn it into the other with a good mixture. So you'd have to have very specific reasons for wanting both of these colors, and I probably own both of them because I really like the color. Especially now that I live somewhere cloudy, because it's kind of sunshiny, but in a subtle way. When I moved here from California, I remember thinking, you know, I hate the heat, but I'm just so happy to see the sun. Like I'm always really appreciative of pretty much like light leaks. I don't want to be in direct sunlight, but I like to see it behind a tree. Like that's so beautiful. And I thought I would miss it. And I still do. But I don't miss the heat. I wouldn't change. I'm grateful for what I have and I wouldn't change it. I would not want to live in Southern California. Okay, now this yellow I love. I'm going to move this. There's a little piece of dried red of some sort. I don't know how to say this. It's spelled like diary and then lied. I don't know if anybody knows how to say that correctly. Diary. I want to say diarrhea. Diarrhea lied. Diary lied. Dairy. Diary. I'm dyslexic, so I didn't know I was until like 2 years ago. So, but I sometimes like I can't necessarily see the spelling in my head. I can like write it out. Dairy. Are dairy and diary spelled the same? No. You guys don't need to hear me talk about this. You don't need to. You didn't come here for that. But if there's somebody lurking in the comments, can you tell me? I think dairy is with an A first. And diary is with an I first. So I think this would be diary lied. Diary lied. I feel like it's in Harry Potter when he says diagonally, and he ends up in the wrong place. Because I don't remember the right one. Diagonally. Which one's right and which one? Diagon Alley. That's the place he wanted to go, but he ends up in some creepy place. Because he said the wrong name before he jumped in the fire. Is that what they do? Gosh, I wish I could travel like that. That would be so cool. Bring me in all my special foods for my food allergies in a bag, jump into a fire, and then boom, I'm in the place I want to be. I wonder if they can do international travel like that. I would like to say I've done some Harry Potter stuff on this channel. Okay, I think only one thing. I did like a flip through of a book. I'm not in favor of what... Hold on. Before I go and make that statement, let me finish writing this. The light fastness is excellent. We've got PY83, and then in quotation marks, it says HR 70, and I don't really know what that means. I've never seen that before. So, I don't know. And it is semi-permanent, semi-opaque. Love Harry Potter, love the work. I'm of the opinion that you can love the art and not agree with the artist. And so I think love what you love. I love the Harry Potter series. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing in my kids' life and in mine. And I'm really grateful to have been a part of it. I think we only went to pick up one book. I'm actually reading the woman who played Luna Lovegood. I don't know how to say her name. Ivana Lynch. Is that right? I'm reading her book right now. It is so good. So good. But she's writing about how she picked up one of the books. I think right now it's book 5. How she picked it up in person. I don't think I got book 5. I think I only did book 7, and I had just had a baby, and I was like seriously postpartum, but I had my 7-year-old because they're pretty far apart in age. I only have 2, and they were 7.5 years apart. So he would have been still close to 7.5. I think my little one was very, very little and very new. And I picked it up, and it was like one. I hope he remembers it. I haven't asked him. I haven't asked my older son if he remembers doing it. I need to put a little bit more on here so that we can get the pure pigment, because I think it goes a little darker. And there's some hair. There's some hair on it. Yeah, so I don't agree with transphobia of any kind. I do understand. I have a lot of compassion for the author's reasoning of why she feels the way she does. I understand she has kind of a horrific past, but I think that the people who, I think the comments that she made were mostly about bathrooms, or like that was her reasoning for making the comments, as far as I know. When I did a deep dive about it a couple years ago, that was what I understood. And I would say the risk isn't to her. If she goes into a bathroom with somebody who is assigned male at birth, I think the risk is to that person. I think if the risk is so much higher for them going into a men's bathroom. Somebody who's assigned male at birth, who's trans. So for them to go into the men's bathroom, to me, seems extremely dangerous for them. Much less dangerous for, like, Rowling or anybody else. Danger's anywhere all the time. There's no safe. I understand that she's had bad experiences, and I have so much compassion for her and the pain that she must feel to say the things she says. It's really sad. But I don't agree, and I think that it's really sad. I just think it's really sad that that's her perspective. And I still love the creation that came through her, though, because, like, I feel like art oftentimes comes through us. It's not of us, it's through us. We are the vessel. And so why throw away something that someone's made just because they, we might not agree with them, or they might be good. I have other words in my head that I'm going to choose not to say on YouTube, but you know what I'm saying. Hansa Yellow Light. This is a great mixing yellow, in my opinion. If you wanted to break out the magenta and the cyan, and cyan is really hard to find. The closest thing to cyan is usually phthalo blue, green shade. Not phthalo blue, red shade. Phthalo blue, green shade. Does that pick it up? I don't really know how to make this particular camera do what I want, because it's already kind of zoomed in. Maybe I'll figure it out one day. I think it's just probably impossible to get it to focus on what you want. That would be my guess. It's an Osmo. So it's not a webcam or anything like that. Okay, that's good. Go back in, go back in. So just any of you out there, I support trans rights. I also like Harry Potter. I hope that that's okay for you. I hope you still feel, if you're on my channel and you're trans, I hope you still feel my love. Okay, PY 3, light fastness 1 1. What does that mean? I don't know. I guess it's good. They had good up here, so I guess 1 1 is good. And it looks, I don't know what that means. That's not, oh, I do. That's like slightly less transparent. Okay, so I guess they have 4 categories instead of 2. For some reason, I only remembered 2. Do we have any other information that we can put? No. I try really hard to never be political on my channel because I want it to be a place of refuge. I want it to be a place that people go to relax and forget the world can be kind of shit. Oops, crap. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Oh, I was doing so well. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to do live streams, because I can have kind of a potty mouth. And I have done so well up until this moment. I mean, it's not the worst of the words. But yeah, anyways, I would like my space to be like a safe space for everyone. It doesn't matter if we agree politically. It doesn't matter if we agree on a million different things, because that's not really that important. You know, what people... I would like it to be less important. I would like what the most important thing to be: creation, creativity, connection. It doesn't need, we don't need to be twins to connect. We can be quite different and still connect. If I'm gonna cover this up. Oh, but then I'm kind of protecting the paper down here from drips. Do I want to ruin this or do I want to ruin this? I've already kind of ruined this. We'll go with this. Did I just put my elbow in this? They're both yellow, so you won't be able to see. This is where I don't wear white things because I break them. Okay, this doesn't make sense. Oh, okay, I moved that one. We need green gold next. Okay, green gold is a really cool color. I think in core it's a dual pigment. Oh, it's only one. Nice. So it's the same as the quinacridone gold. It can oftentimes be 2 pigments, and it'll, if you pile it up, it'll be like a really dark green, and not a dark green, but like a deep, almost green. And then if you pull it out, it's like a really clear yellow, which I think if you keep it thin, it can be very nice for mixing. Green gold. Yeah, so the only reason I'm even mentioning politics on my channel is because I talk about Harry Potter pretty frequently. And I know for some people it's black and white, either or. And I hope that for you all, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the statement that growing up, maturity is being able to hold 2 ideas in your head without your head exploding. And that can be hard. And that can be really hard for like us neurodivergent folks. Like, it's a big topic of conversation in our family. Like, you know, I see your point, but just because your point and my point are different doesn't mean that both can't be true. That's so hard for us all. Myself included. LF. Good. Okay, so now we're talking good again. Instead of in ones. And we have no transparency information. So we're going to have to figure it out for ourselves. We're going to have to decide for ourselves. How transparent is this? I'm gonna need to go change my water before I head over to the blues. Probably should have done it before we did the yellows. Oh no. Okay, good. Got some crumbs. Do you see how green that looks? Oh, I feel like you guys aren't getting good colors. Oh. It's on warm, the light, the overhead light that's on, that explains it. Okay, let me see if I can fix that. That's better. Hold on. That one. That one. That might be too blue. I think that's the most accurate. Okay, maybe a little brighter. I think this is as bright as it gets. Okay. I hope that's better. I thought it was dried. And do you see how green that looks? Looks very green. I need to re-wet the paper because it's been a minute. Oh my gosh, this is a mess. It's just really crumbly. And it's more like that on the smaller tubes than the big ones. With the bigger caps, it's easier to open and less messy. Okay, I'm gonna clean my hand because I really don't want to, let me see my hands. I don't know if you saw what I did, but I just put like a little bit of my dirty water on my hands and then I'm rubbing it on my blot rag so that I don't have to get up and wash my hands. It's a nice trick. I mean, it's already all over your hands, so might as well. I really like to keep my hands clean, but when you're doing a live stream, you gotta just figure some other alternatives out. Lower the bar, lower the standard a little bit. Oh, also just doing watercolor. You gotta accept that it's kind of messy, but at least it's not chalk pastels. Chalk pastels to me are the messiest thing. And oh, sorry, I'm not a frame here. It can be so stressful to me to use that stuff. This feels very opaque to me. It's kind of like not moving a lot. And I don't know if that's because the paint that I'm picking up is not very hydrated yet. It was very, very dry in the tube. So it just seems kind of clumpy, but I don't think that's this color. I think it's probably we need a little bit more water in it. That would be my guess. Okay, the next color is blue. Well, turquoise actually. And I'm wondering if we want to just move over to this side because I'll want the blues to be next to each other. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've only done 10. And then there's 1, 2, 3. I didn't move one anywhere, right? Oh, I've also got these, which I think we should do the yellow over here. We've already skipped the red section. Oh, if I had just not been like, oh, I'm just going to take up all this space, I would be able to fit that right there. What red is this? Quinacridone red. Is that the same? No, it's not. This is red light, and this is just plain old red. Well, first of all, we can clean this. Well, I'm thinking about what to do about that red. I don't think I would ever be like, I'm gonna go get these because these reds that I have are insufficient. I think that'd be very unlikely, but you just never know. Like, I'm just not, as of yet, I've never been that picky. Could I get picky? Yeah, I guess. I just feel like you can mix most colors. You can make most things work. Another thing I could have done off camera, cleaning this. Tell me how fascinated you are by this. Well, I think I'd like to compare them because we have cobalt turquoise and this is cobalt teal. I think it'd be good to put them next to each other. So let's go ahead. We'll figure out the red. We'll just squeeze it in here. I'll just I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I want this to be a good tool later. I'm making a tool for later. This is a tool so that I can choose colors effectively. And it's better if it's not perfect and useful. Oh, okay. We're not going to have a lot of information on it. We're just going to have, it says Ben's purple. I don't even know what that means. Oh, we do have some info on the back. Wow. Benzimidazolone yellow. PY154 LF1. I see why I wrote Benz on the little swatch sheet. And we're going to do that again. Because I don't see how it's going to improve my life to write out the whole word. Enzo yellow. PY154 LF1. Do we have any other information? No. I mean, I guess the pro of it not having a lot of information is that I don't have to worry about fitting it in. Yay! Did you guys see that flying? It's because I put too much water. So there was a lot more movement. Oh, this is a beautiful yellow. I didn't realize that. It's just a little bit more orange than Hansa Yellow Light, but it's very close. And I prefer my yellows to have a little bit of orange. Oh, you can't see. I wish that you guys could yell at me. Because even if there's nobody in the chat, but let's say that there was, I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking at the chat. So I wouldn't have seen your please. I think on Twitch there's like emotes that people can do that make noise. I guess you could get my attention that way. But we're not on Twitch. We're on YouTube. Okay. Beautiful. All right, let's find a place to squish the red. We can put it on top or below. Looks like there's a little more space below. So we're gonna just, oh, what is that? I'm touching this and it felt cold and I was like, oh, it's wet. Nope, we're good. We're gonna do Quin Red. Quin Red. Wow, my pen's suddenly working beautifully. PV19. Light fastness 1. Okay. I think I'm also going to circle anything that is in the palette. And I'll make an annotation of that at some point so that I don't think, oh my gosh, my watercolors are missing. No, they're not. They're just in the travel palette only. Okay, we're gonna put it a little bit all the way so that we can really see the difference. This is very much more like magenta, so it should have been up there, but I didn't realize that. Oh, now we know. That's good for mixing. It's easier to mix with magenta than red. Magenta you can make red with magenta, and by adding yellow to it, and red you cannot make magenta. So it's more flexible. It's a great color to have in the palette. They made a good choice. I didn't realize that it was closer to magenta than red when I bought the palette. I was just kind of desperate. I'm gonna take a break and have some water. I feel like I thought I saw cat hair in my mug. I'm gonna look at these and see which one is closer to yellow. I would say it's probably this one. Wait, this is teal and this is... Oh, wait. Oh, they're the same color. I thought one of them was turquoise. I guess I really am having memory issues today. If I couldn't remember from reading this one and picking up the other one. They're the same exact color. Okay. Then we don't need to worry about that. Then the next one is the blue, and the blue is cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is, I think, a little bit greenish, so we'll do it after phthalo blue. I hope I remember. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this one off. That way I don't have to, this is kind of over, almost gone. So then I don't have to open it. And I think I need to change my water. Let me show my water to you. I'll leave this for you to look at because I'm going to move this over when I come back. But here's the water. See that? That's pretty yellow.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel so alive. As I reach out to the sky. I found my way, was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, cause I found my way.
Hello, I'm back. The cat's still missing. It's kind of freaking me out. It sounds like I have a very codependent relationship with the cat, but honestly, like, she's just kind of always around, and it's weird for her to be MIA. Here's my test strip. By the way, we could be using that a little bit more than we have been. We're gonna move things over. Could have done this. Could have done this while we were doing the be right back. So we are doing teal next. And wouldn't that be crazy if they use like a different pigment number or something? Cobalt teal. Light fastness is excellent. PG50. And no other information. Let's check on this one and see if they have anything more to say. Oh, this is interesting. It says PG50 LFXE. Light fastness. Oh. Light fastness is excellent. I'm really quick on the uptake today. Got a lot to fit on here, so I really want to start way up at the top. Oh, look, you can see it moving. Yay! I feel like the lighting is not as good as it was last week, and I'm not really sure what's different. I think it might be my overhead light. Might be just that I have too many light sources, or that they're all like a different white balance. I'm not really sure what I could do better, but I'm going to experiment with it and hopefully it'll be better next week. Next we're going to do Viridian. This is, I think, the only brand I have Viridian in, maybe one other, and I love it. I just think it's such a beautiful color. You don't need to buy a green because you can always mix them. And some people call greens convenience colors. But I'm a sucker for green, and so I like having them. Viridian. And it is PG18. Light fastness 1. And semi-opaque. They actually have the line going another way, but we're good. Was I supposed to do another green in the middle? Why does this not look like the same color? Like, I swatched that. Let's put it on a little thicker. Doesn't need to be so light. There we go. I know a lot of artists do not like working with green. And it's interesting the psychology behind why. but people call it like putrid. I've heard people describe green as putrid, which seems a little extreme. I used to think orange was putrid as a kid, and now I wear it all the time. Do I paint with it a lot? I don't know. Not orange just by itself. Oh, yeah, we're gonna get a lot of movement. No, no, nope. You changed your mind. I think the paper's too wrinkly for it to move. Or it dried already? Oh, how did it dry so fast? Did I not wet the paper? And I think I did. Is my memory that bad today? Whee! You know what? I have one light that I can turn off. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna... Did I just pick up? Oh, I thought I picked up this color next to it. I think we can add... We need to add a little more. When I'm done putting the Viridian down, I'm gonna try turning off one of the lights and see if that improves things. It might not. I saw some buds on a tree over the weekend. That was very exciting to me because I'm kind of done with winter. I like winter because I like staying in and painting, and it's very cozy. Oh, I think that's a little better. Is that better? Okay. If that's better, here you go. These are the swatches we've done. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Do I look worse? I might look worse. But this looks better. Yeah, I think we'll go for phthalo blue and then cobalt blue. Maybe cerulean blue first, French cerulean before cobalt. I was going to say, let's swatch the cobalt, but I literally have a swatch right there, so it's really the other ones that I need a swatch of. Oh, I always forget how to spell phthalo. P-H-T-H-A-L-O. Had it memorized at one point, but not anymore. My brain was like, we don't need that information. PB 15-3. PB 15 semicolon, oh no, colon 3. And semi-transparent light fastness 2. Really? It's only 2? It's such a commonly used color, and its light fastness is... I know that there's some categories where it's just really hard to make it light fast. I think red is one, and maybe blue is also one. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just like the availability of the pigments. Okay, I just wet the paper. I know I did. You saw me do it. Whee! There you go. Now you're getting the... Oh, maybe you're not getting the core experience. so obvious for me at this angle. There's a reflection. Okay, there we go. There you go. You see it moving? I love video, but there are some limitations that can be very frustrating. This is very staining. It doesn't say on the packaging whether or not it is, but I'm going to tell you from experience, Phthalo Blue stains like nothing else. And I literally mean that. Like, I don't think I can think of any other pigment that stains as readily. Oh, do we want to make it a little darker? We can. Before we move on entirely. It's a pretty versatile pigment because it does go from dark to light. It can go pretty dark. And it's so good for mixing. Okay. Cobalt or French. We're going to go with French cerulean. That might be, yeah, I definitely feel like that's going to be more blue. French. How do we spell cerulean? C-E-R-U-L-E-A-N. And we have PB36. Light fastness 1. And it is semi-opaque. This is going to be crumbly. Oh my gosh, we have binder separation. So you can see the binder. Let's see. Let's get the... Do you see that? It is pretty white. The binder in the Sennelier is very yellow, and that might be because it's honey as a base. Sorry, not white. It's clear. More binder coming out. Oh my gosh, so much binder. I don't remember this happening before. I'll show you. Which camera will pick it up? What is happening? Can you see it? I don't know. If anything, I'd say that this color is more green than that one. The one that says green in the name. But you can't go by names. So let's play with this. We're gonna use this swatch stick to experiment with Aquazol. I don't know if you can buy it by itself. You can buy binders separately. It's gum arabic usually, but I don't know if you can buy Aquazol separately. It's kind of interesting to see it not really doing anything. Oh, I can smell it though. It very much smells like kindergarten when you're using temperate paints. But I think probably most watercolors smell like that up close if they don't have honey in them, making it more of a honey experience. What is happening? Do I have some paint water on this paintbrush? You're seeing how I fix my mistakes. when I'm doing a painting. This happens a lot. No, nothing exciting happened. We'll see it when it dries. Maybe it'll be like thicker. My water is gorgeous. That is a beautiful blue. Look at that. Looks like it's Smurf's Day at the bar. Okay, let's swatch that on the paper. Or in the sketchbook. That's what I'm trying to say. My family has been talking a little bit about getting another dog. We just found out that the dog that we were daydreaming about had to get a knee replacement surgery. We know somebody with a dog. It's a Berner. Bernese Mountain Dog. My partner and I really love them. And it's a puppy, 6-month-old, and it had to get a knee replacement, and it was from a reputable breeder. So I'm like, oh. Huh. That sounds like a huge amount of stress and trauma for everyone involved, and I'm not sure that I am ready for that kind of thing after everything I've gone through with the geriatric dogs and the diapers and they seem really kind of unhappy and uncomfortable a lot of the time. Okay, so ultramarine blue is the next one, and it's definitely more red. Prussian blue, I would say Prussian blue is darker. It's kind of more close to a neutral. Prussian blue. Okay, I just want to swatch that right here for a second because I just can't remember with this particular, oh my gosh, that is just looking like indigo to me. I remember Prussian blue being one of my favorites, but I don't remember it being, oh yeah, that's very green. Greener than French cerulean. But it can get so dark, it would be almost fair to call it. When I say neutral, what I mean is something that I can, I don't always mean neutral. I mean something that I can make it more dark. Because watercolors are really hard to get dark. Where did my pen go? You guys yell at me. Tell me, where did I put it? I'm trying really hard to not use the term guys. I'm trying to use the more inclusive y'all. I know I know it's gender neutral, guys, but some people really don't like it, apparently. Okay. Where did my pen go? Sorry. Did I take it with me when I went to wash the paint? I'm sure I just have it. Is it? I'm gonna have to go find another pen. Huh, that's so odd. Is it right in front of me and I'm just not seeing it? That's usually the case. Oh, it's on the floor. I didn't see it fall. Okay. We're debating. Cobalt blue is going to go closer to purple. Well, I wouldn't really say it has a lot of purple in it, but maybe a little bit more red. Ultramarine's definitely more red. Prussian blue, we've just decided, is more green. Now, I would say that this is like the most blues I have in any set. But I feel like I just have a lot of colors in this set. I have one set with a lot of Mission Gold set, and it has a lot of reds. I bought it as a set. So it's not like I bought them individually. Sets can be a really nice way to save money. But you don't always get the colors that you want, the ones that you're most likely going to use. And so in the long run, are you saving any money? But it's also good to kind of like push your boundaries and say like, oh, maybe there's a color that I could be using that's something that I wouldn't have used if it hadn't been in this set. Hoping that you, okay, I think it's finally, the camera's finally at an angle where you're not getting a big glare while it flies across the paper. It moves very quick, which is so much fun to watch, but kind of inconvenient if you aren't working fast enough, or if maybe you were going to lift it, or I don't know. I think there are circumstances in which that would be very annoying. Phthalo blue and Prussian blue look very similar to me here. They're different. I would say phthalo blue green is more red. Maybe not. On the camera, they all look really similar. In person, there's definite distinctions between them. Okay, now ultramarine blue goes last. Probably cobalt blue goes before that. Do I have any other blues? Am I missing any? French cerulean. I think we're ready to do cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is one of my favorites, and I think it's one of the toxic ones. It's not great for you. So like, don't eat it. But I also think if it gets on your hands, wash it off quickly, because we do absorb some things through our skin. It's PB28, light fastness 1. Contains BIT, may produce allergic reaction. Ethanolate bit. I don't know what that means. Because I have MCAS, I can be pretty risk adverse when it comes to chemicals and perfumes, things like that. I don't do well with them most of the time. But when it comes to paint, I just feel like the amount that you're being exposed to is minuscule. And I don't worry as much as I would if it was something that's going on my body. It does go on my body. It gets on my hands. But the amount of on my hands, I feel, is pretty small. And definitely if I was having a painting session, it would be more. I say cobalt's one of my favorites, but like compared to these other blues, it would not be the first one I would pull out. I do like how close it is to the phthalo blue green, and I think it's a really great choice for mixing in a travel palette where you have access to a really limited number of colors. And I think that, you know, when you're painting a painting, it's better if you have fewer colors. It's better if you have a more cohesive palette. In real life, we have a billion colors. And sometimes that looks good, and sometimes that looks not so good. But a painting that has a limited color palette, I think, is a really great way to go. I struggle with that. I tend to include too many colors. So, do as I say, not as I do. You know what I would say about Viridian? I think Viridian is granulating. Most of these paints are definitely not granulating. That might be why they were one of my favorites for... I probably like looked it up and said like, oh, which paints have the least granulation? Maybe that's why they were my favorite for a while, until I realized that they were a bit of a mess when it comes to moving quickly. They were just a bit of a mess for somebody like myself who wasn't experienced enough to move quickly and handle that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that overall. Ultramarine blue, right? Is that the only thing we have left? I think so. PB29. Light fastness 1. And it is semi-opaque. I mean semi-transparent. Are we gonna fit everything? Hope so. Oh no, did it mix with another color? I think it did. It's been contaminated. Let's try that again. There we go. I think you're seeing that rapid movement. I think a lot of blues tend to be granulating, but none of these are. Ultramarine blue, I really like to do my particular partner's skin in, because I think he's got bluish undertones. Or I don't know. I just find like I always want to use ultramarine blue to paint him. And then I'm kind of frustrated that it's usually granulating. I don't think it is. I wonder if that's, I know I was looking for that at one point, researching an ultramarine that's not granulating. It's not that bad. I would say the cerulean blue is kind of granulating. Prussian, no. Phthalo blue usually is not at all. Cobalt, maybe a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. I'm learning something that I did not remember. Now we're going to go into dioxazine purple. This one can get really dark and it's good for mixing dark colors. I think I need to move my camera. I'm much more over here than I thought I would be. PV23. Light fastness is excellent. I wonder why they have two different rating systems. Oh yeah, I forgot the little ones, they don't tell you anything about the opacity. You can't see what I'm doing. Okay, I think we're gonna have to add a little bit more so that we can see how dark it can get. Look at that, isn't that amazing? And it's non-granulating. Let me check what these neutrals are before we start. We've got Van Dyke Brown, Payne's Gray. And we've already got Van Dyke's Brown over here, but I don't think I have Payne's Gray. So let's just start with Payne's Gray because I don't want to forget that this exists. And which is which? I think, I don't know. That's Van Dyke Brown. Let's just clean this off. Yeah, it's Payne's Gray. Oh, that's a pretty one. Okay. But before we do, is there anything close to purple? Oh, indigo. Let's do indigo because that could be also a blue. And then let's blue. Indigo will definitely be more blue than the Payne's Gray. And then neutral tint. Let's look. Neutral tint's usually my go-to more than Payne's Gray. A lot of people love Payne's Gray. And I started working with neutral tint with, oh my gosh, look, we've got some binder coming out there. What about some paint? How about some paint? Okay, now go back in. The first watercolor that I used, hold on, it crumbled. The first two brands I used were Daniel Smith and Winsor & Newton. And Winsor & Newton, I really like their neutral tint, but I'm not sure if I don't remember if I like the neutral tint for core. The neutral tint's a little bit more blue, I think, in Winsor & Newton. Yeah, that's definitely like black. So that can come later. And then we've got some browns. So let's put all the browns together. And neutral tints. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so let's start with indigo so that it can be near the blues visually. The way color is like it's so influenced by what it's next to. Colors can look entirely different. We're gonna go on a tangent here, but I'm studying color theory because I didn't, I'm self-taught. Nope, wrong book. Wait, nope, right book. Okay. I'd have it bookmarked if I had known I was gonna want to do this. When I went into the store to buy it, it was just like the first page I opened it up to. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I want to understand. Okay. I don't know where the page is, but these bricks are all the same size, but the black changes how it all feels. I don't think I'm explaining that well. The red with the white looks much lighter than the red with the black, particularly at a distance. Okay, yeah, so this isn't the example I was looking for, but this illustrates what I'm trying to say. The black around the red in this situation makes it look darker. And the white around the red makes it look lighter. Probably, especially if you move it away from you, your eye mixes it. Maybe that's why I like wearing dark colors, because I'm so pale. Maybe it makes me look like I have a little more pigment. Not really sure. Okay, we're doing indigo. Yeah, so, but anyways, I'd like to have this blue near these other blues. If I have it over here, it's going to look a lot more something else. But it essentially, indigo is a dark blue. Interestingly, I had a doctor prescribe me indigo to eat it for the mouth sores I was getting. Yeah, that went badly. I ended up having a reaction to it, but I thought it was kind of fascinating. I didn't know you could eat indigo. You can. PB15:3. So you've got the same ingredient as phthalo blue, but we also have PBK7 and PV19. And it is light fastness too, so not great. A lot of blues aren't great. A lot of reds aren't great that I've noticed. And it is semi-opaque. Semi-transparent, I mean. Closer to being transparent. Indigo is definitely one of my favorite things to paint with. Not necessarily in core, because it's a mixed color, and I know I've just learned to be a little prejudiced against that. I don't think it actually matters for me, but because I read a lot of people when I was like, oh, what watercolor should I buy? I was like, oh well, oh look guys, are you seeing this? Yay! Finally, I've been talking about that since the first one. We finally see it moving like a train across the page. I completely forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, prejudice against mixed colors. Sounds so bad. We're just not gonna, yeah, we're not talking about people here. We're talking about paint. But I love this indigo so much. It's so pretty. I'm sure that there are indigos that are single pigment in other brands, but this particular one, it's dual pigment. And I actually really like dual pigments because you can get just some miraculous explosions on the paper. So if you, for example, mix burnt orange with teal, oh wow, when those separate out, it looks so cool when it dries. So if you like kept it in a colder room where it took forever to dry, you can just make the most like fun experiments. I've never had a reason to use it in a painting yet, but I should make that a goal. Like a dystopian scene and have that be the background or something. So do we want, oh no, not neutral tint yet. We want Payne's Gray first. Did I remember to circle? I think I need to circle, but this one's in both. I have it in both. Have I only swatched 3 of them? Red, yellow, blue. What is cobalt blue? The teal's in both, and now we're doing Payne's Gray. Is it gray with an E or with an A? Which country are we in? I think it's produced in the US. What am I saying? I know what it is. It's with an A, but I wrote E. PB, oh, another PB. PB 15:3. PBK7. Oh my gosh, they're almost exactly the same. But then this one has PV19. Oh, they're exactly the same. They must be in different amounts. That one's easy to understand. Because like if it was just PB153, you're like, how are phthalo blue green and phthalo blue red both the exact same number? That's probably some sort of a chemical reaction. But this is something that I could make in just different amounts. You just add a little bit more of the PBK7, or maybe you add more PV19 for Payne's Gray versus indigo. Kind of makes sense to me. Oh, look, it just came out. How can you see the Payne's Gray? Oh, it fell back in. I didn't realize they were so movable. Okay, just making sure I've got the right color. Yeah. When I'm having memory issues like I'm having today. Woo! Wah! Look at that. It's good to double check when you're having memory issues. Oh, now I don't want to like move it down the paper because that looks so cool. It's like a perfect gradient. Oh no, it's still moving slowly. Slowly, go, go, go. All right. I mean, they are very similar in color. And I really like both of them. And I might use it in the future, now that I've been reacquainted with it. And that one is only on here, so I'm going to do a dark circle. Did we do neutral tint yet? No. And that one is on both. And EU. I always spell neutral wrong. I mix up the E and the U. Just checking if I have paint. It feels wet. And I'm like, is it paint or is it just water? PY. Oh, okay. PY 42. Is that up here? No. PR 122. And then also it has PB 15.3. Which, you know, is like the most popular color on this whole page. Light fastness is 2, so not particularly light fast, or light, not the maximum. And then it's semi-transparent. Oh, we already put it down, right? That was neutral tint. I hope I'm remembering right, because my memory is like kind of bleh. I only have one thing I can eat that's like quick and easy, that's prepackaged, and it's this Epic bar. It's like a bacon bar, and it has a little bit of sugar in it. And I woke up, or no, I had to have one before bed last night because it had been too long since dinner and I was hypoglycemic. And then I had 2 of them the night before for kind of similar reasons, but not exactly, like in the middle of the night. And I eat them on planes, and like if we go out on a trip, like an all day out, I'll take them with me. But I don't really do well with sugar, and I had these things. And I kind of don't really feel like there's an alternative for me right now. It's kind of like, there's a lot of Aquazol in this, and I feel like it's not spreading well. That's interesting, because I feel like it's the Aquazol that makes it fly. So I don't know what's happening here, why it's kind of stuck. But yeah, eating sugar affects my memory a lot. And so I avoid it, but sometimes I can't avoid it. I did pass on some kettle corn yesterday. I had a choice, and I made the right choice of not eating the sugar, but then I did need to eat some protein. I'm getting closer to starting to test foods that I've been treating with slit. And so I might add some protein sources in it soon that are non-animal, and that would be amazing. I would love to have like eggs, or I don't know, just anything easier than a meat. That would be great. Burnt umber, Van Dyke brown, and transparent brown oxide. Which one is closest? I've got them in this order. I think that makes sense. Let's leave it that way. I'm just checking to make sure we don't miss anything. Okay, we're gonna do burnt umber. Love burnt umber. It's up there with raw sienna and yellow ochre for me. Like it's a similar, I feel like it's a similar tone. So we have to fit in 5 more. We can do it. We're gonna make it work. BR7. LF1. And it is semi-opaque. And is there anything else we need to know? Or any other information? No. What did I just drop? What is there to drop? I think I've used this color a lot in a portrait. And I consider that to not have gone well. I was going to say fail, but then people kind of get upset when you say that about your work. It's okay to not like your work, but I don't know, people get upset. And the reason why it was a fail, in my opinion, is because this brown is very granulating. Like most of them are. In my portraits of dark skin, I kind of don't use brown anymore. I just mix my own brown. So I would, you know, pick a non-granulating blue and red and yellow and sometimes green. And that's why it's been so hard to make it dark enough. And I don't know why there's not more information on the internet about how to solve this problem, because I am like, I think I watched one video, I think it was about watercolor. See, this isn't necessarily a problem in other mediums. It's because like gouache or oil paint or acrylic, it's opaque, so you're not going to have granulation. Like it's not a thing. I think it's specific to watercolors. And so I'm sure that like the great artists are just doing their thing and they're not making a YouTube video about it. But if I ever figure it out, I'll tell you guys how I figured it out. Wait, we just did burnt umber. Okay, we need to do Van Dyke brown now. Okay. See, that doesn't look that granulating, but I swear to you, when you do it on watercolor paper, I think it's more granulating. This is a mixed media paper. This is the back side of the paper. And so it might not be as granulating, but let's see if I can show you. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't granulating. I just thought it was. I feel like there's some extra binder coming out or something. Maybe it's just like I put it on too thick. I'm not sure what the issue is. But right now I didn't add enough water. It's just like, this is how I feel my paintings come out, kind of streaky. And I don't know if it's the technique that I'm using or if it's just easier to make it streaky. Like, I don't know. We'll wait for that to dry. And it's hard to like fix it. Like you can go in and manipulate, right? And hopefully, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll show it to you guys in a few minutes when it dries. So next we're doing Van Dyke brown. We're running out of room here, so we're going to pick up the one from there. PR 101. Light fastness 1. And it is semi-opaque. And maybe the issue is that this is opaque. Sorry, this is semi-transparent. Maybe that's the issue that I'm having with it. And that's good that we've swatched it out, because now I'm being reminded of the issues I've had of it. Oh, let's get it wet first. I feel like that doesn't fly the way some of the other ones did. Is that because I put more water? What a beautiful brown. I mean, they're both pretty, but... Whoa, this is single pigment. What? Huh. For some reason, I thought it was multi-pigment. If you want to paint somebody with a lot of red in their skin, and you don't mind if there's granulation, that's a good brown. Whoop. So I think my biggest issues with painting dark skin in a portrait is that by the time I have enough like layers to get the correct color, it's a mess. Like, it doesn't look good anymore. It doesn't look like watercolor. It just looks like some other medium. And I'm sure that there's a way to not do that, and I haven't figured it out. Wow. Am I picking up this color? Because I feel like there's some black in there. Am I making this up? Wow. This is gorgeous. Super granulating, but it's so beautiful. Did I pick up some from? I think there's just a lot of black pigment in it. Yeah, this is hyper granulating. This is so granulating. So, okay, now we know this book doesn't really tell us that much about granulation, because it behaves differently than would typical watercolor paper. But if you, maybe I could do portraits in here. Sorry for bumping the table and shaking everything. But I don't really want to work on this paper, so I'm going to figure out how to work on that one. Okay, now we have transparent brown oxide. And it is PR 101, so same as the other. Or I should say the same as same as Van Dyke Brown. And it is transparent. So this one maybe won't granulate as much, but it's just not as dark. So it's not that helpful. You might as well be using an orange. I think we lost some aguazal there. Some binder came out. I'm going to circle Van Dyke Brown before I forget. I'm going to circle it lightly because it's in both. That's orange. I don't know why we're even calling this brown. Oxide must mean something. Oh, I feel like there's a lot of granulation that isn't going to show up. So let's take it on here. Kind of run out of space. But... am I imagining it? yeah, to get it, you know, to get it thick enough where you're just doing like 1 or 2 layers, it just ends up getting tacky. That's why I prefer to do multiple layers and not just one, because it'll get I'm sure that there are many people who do watercolor who are so good at getting dark colors. I'm just not one of them. I feel like I really struggle with that. Let's load on the pigment here. Yeah, I feel like we're getting granulation on here, but not as much on here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Odd. Because I thought it was the paper. The paper, you know, if the paper has like pores, basically, the pigments can go collect into the pores. The heavier ones will go in the lower areas and the lighter ones will go on top. So it's a pretty like very natural thing to have happen if there's any difference in the pigments. Okay. By difference in the pigments, I mean if there's any difference in weight or if there's multiple pigments, although Viridian is a single pigment and you still get some variation. And this one's single pigment and you still get variation. So, you know, I'm not really exactly sure how that all works. We could ask a scientist. Titan. Oh, this is Titan buff. I thought it was titanium buff, but it's Titan. Maybe the person who named these is like a superhero fan or something. PW 6:1. And light fastness is 1. I really like using this color. When I was drinking coffee, I would use it to paint the cream. And it made me very happy to paint coffee. And it just came out so well. Oh, is that some binder separation or is that just a really light color? I'm gonna go with just a light color. Oh, where was the opacity? I think that this one's like really opaque. And we still have to fit white at the bottom, but I just, you know, swatching white's not really the most exciting thing most of the time. Kind of pointless, in my opinion. Semi-opaque. I thought it was, where are we? Right there. Ah! We're gonna leave it there because we're almost done. We're gonna move on to white. Chinese white. I can't believe they all fit. I'm so surprised. I did not think it was going to happen. PW4. And it is actually semi-opaque, which is why do you need a white watercolor? Why did I buy this? I'm sure I had a reason. I'm sure that there are uses for it. I am just not super experienced in using white. I think mixing it with other colors, if it's to make it more opaque, might make sense. Oops, I meant to make a line to see how we cover it. But it's like semi-opaque, so I mean it's semi, not semi. Oh yeah. There's a line in it. Okay, it's semi-transparent, so it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be particularly good at covering up that line. Okay, go back in. Go back in. Go back in. Can I force it in? I think it might have worked. Usually when you do that, you just end up, the goo just comes out all over. Okay, look at that. This is amazing. Work of art. I mean, it's a little bit more yellow than the paper, to be fair. Did I not clean my brush enough? Maybe I didn't clean my brush. That'd be terrible. Because I feel like yeah, we had some of this in it, the buff titanium. Maybe, or maybe it's just kind of yellow. I'm gonna try to clean it off. We're gonna try again. Because my paint water's a little dirty, but it's blue, not yellow. So if there was like, oh, maybe we picked up that yellow. Maybe that's what happened. All right. Absolutely no coverage. Nothing. Okay, that's a little better. Yay! I think I'm done. Did we finish? I think we did everything. I've got all those ones. Woohoo! So how many do I have overall? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 27, 28. Did we technically fit the white? No, I don't think so, but I think I could have made these a little bit smaller. I just didn't bother because I knew I wanted the blues to be over here altogether. So we technically fit 28 paints, and that's better than I was expecting to get on here, because the other ones that we did, far fewer than 28, especially with the Shinka, because I don't have very many colors of that. By the way, this is still plenty of colors to make an amazing piece of artwork. You just have to mix well. Are you going to have some granulation? Probably. A lot of the paints are granulating. You just have to be really careful if you didn't want that to happen, because they were granulating even on this paper, and this paper isn't the best for granulating. It doesn't really show up. So let's compare. Which one did we do first? These are the same color, these two, and there's so much more granulation. Let me see if I can bring you closer. That's the same. There's a lot more granulation here. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing it really. And then you have to see that one, right? Like, that's a crazy amount of granulation. And it looks even like it's got this color mixed in, but I don't think that happened. So, burnt umber, Van Dyke brown. Van Dyke brown has a lot of black in it. And then this color here actually seems kind of non-granulating. But it's not that dark. It's not like it's that much darker than Quinn burnt orange. So if I was gonna, if I wanted, you know, either one could be fine, but if I wanted to do a skin tone, I would really want to make sure that the transparent brown oxide for sure is not granulating. I would want to do an experiment. I don't like how it looks loaded up, but I think that that's just maybe how things look. But it doesn't look so bad. The blue doesn't look so bad. So maybe it's my technique. Maybe I did something that I wasn't aware of and changed how I was doing it. I'm gonna get a glass of water real quick. Okay. It's 2:20? Oh my gosh. Wow. We started like on the dot. I can't believe it's 2:20. I'm tired. I was like, man, I'm ready for a break. But having been disturbed by no animals at all in almost 2.5 hours, I'm really concerned. I gotta go find my cat. So, and find my dog. I fear for them both. Well, okay, I think the dog is asleep. I'm sure the dog is asleep. Actually, I'm sure the cat's asleep. The cat might be like under my bed or something, just somewhere. Don't normally check. But yeah, I'm concerned. We've been here a long time, And thank you so much for joining me, whether you are here live or if you're here after the fact, because you need to know a little bit more about core watercolors. If you have any questions about the paints themselves, go ahead and ask me. I've used them quite a bit. I will answer any questions you have if I know the answer, and I'll see you in the next one.